3, 2, 1, on you.
What's going on, everybody? Tales from the Bottom of the Ocean. Brand new episode of your favorite philosophy podcast, the greatest of all time. And to attest to our greatness, why don't you go over to patreon.com/area22 to donate. Give us some money. Make sure that this project, my life project, if this is my life project, honestly. I'm realizing that sounds pretty pathetic. But,
Not
whatever.
when we get money. We're gonna get big bucks. We're gonna be big shots.
Exactly.
We're gonna forget all about you people.
All of you didn't believe in me.
Yeah.
Made fun of me in high school.
Go fuck yourselves.
Exactly. All right.
We only get one F-bomb.
Nah, we got multiple F-bombs.
Oh, yeah, now our
cool.
sponsors don't really even care.
We have a maximum of 25 F-bombs.
Seriously?
Fuck, okay.
No.
Okay.
Anyway, Bella and Mike join us.
Our back.
Hello.
Yeah, once
Our
again.
most viewed
What's up?
episode.
Our most viewed. It was very popular.
Yeah,
I
I
really
wonder.
appreciate that, guys. Thank you for coming down.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, how are you guys doing?
Good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah,
Not
we're
bad.
Good. Traffic
Not
was
terrible.
kind of a pain in the ass, but whatever.
Yeah, no, it's really bad.
Well, it was like 5 people got into an accident on the way here. So
Remember the guy who got out of the car on the way here?
Oh yeah, this freaking boomer dude. It's like legit, like this little guy. He's just
he was orange
sunglasses,
and fat,
tank
and
top.
yeah.
He was just walking in the middle of the street like he owned the place.
Yeah, he's
Basically like
hobbling
that.
around. Yeah, it looked like
Like
he was,
move. What are you
he was
doing?
seriously like right in front of my car. I was trying to do the turn off to get here, and he was just wobbling around like this. He seriously needed a
I
bath
hate
or
people.
something.
That's
Yeah.
a big thing to take away. I fucking hate people.
Love you too, man.
They're the worst. I swear to God.
All right. So, Mike, what are we doing for this episode?
You didn't tell me, so I have no idea.
Mike, yes, I did.
If they're here, I'm guessing it's to part 2 of our men and women
Civilization.
fucking mess. Yeah.
Mike, all right, don't actually milk the privilege.
I'm not milking the privilege
Jesus. All right.
until the
I'm
people tell
definitely
me
using
I-
mine.
Okay.
You won't know when.
All right, fair enough. But
Poopy. Is that a bad word?
all right. Let's go to it. All right. So, as you guys would remember, last time we established a lot of presuppositions. We agreed that women and men are predominantly masculine and women are predominantly female.
Wow. That's what we
No,
got.
hold on. No, I'm serious. That's actually some somewhat contested belief in some intellectual
Where?
spheres. It just is. It's a new age, dude. You gotta. The times are now, old man.
we are in the 21st century.
Seriously. No,
It's the current year, folks.
well, gender critical people will
It's like-
often dispute it.
Gender critical?
Yeah. Listen, that's for a whole nother episode. So we established that presupposition. We also established a couple of other ideas, like I posited the idea that the Garden of Eden, like the allegory itself, is a sort of symbological story about the idea that sort of women play in tyrannies. I sort of came to that conclusion. We kind of discussed it beforehand a little bit on female iconography in terms of things like liberty and freedom.
Ain't none of y'all know about Lilith, though.
What?
The original. All right, some people. All right. Let me get my.
No,
let me get my
no,
no, it's real. It's
Mike's
real. This
mystery.
is real.
No, Mike's mystery.
It's not a mystery. It's real.
But I haven't even finished the presupposition.
But it has to do with women.
Okay, go on.
Because Lilith is thought to be the original woman. Because this is the thing. There's something that's you remember when I said the disparity that like people say that like Adam and Eve were created together, but in reality they took the rib out. It's
Yeah.
because Lilith was made with Adam, and she screwed everything up even worse than frickin' Eve did.
Well, when was this added to the canon?
It was there in the first place, and I think Christianity took it out. Like I think if you read the Torah or something, it's still there. I don't know.
How progressive of Jeez.
Basically, and some people even go as far as to say she's the real serpent. You know, crazy stuff. But she ruined everything.
All right.
How? Are we-
Yeah. How
Well, she was the serpent. She ruins everything. And then I don't remember what she did. She got kicked out. I forgot what
I've
she
never
did.
heard of this.
So this story is irrelevant. You don't even know what she did.
I think she like.
I've never heard of this
Don't
in
make
my
stuff
life.
up. Well, don't make stuff up.
I'm not
What'd she
making
do?
stuff up.
No,
Bro,
no, no.
I'm not allowed
what'd she
to.
do?
I'm not allowed to add canon to an already made
No,
up
but
story.
no. Okay, no. You can add stuff to it. But what did she do?
Oh, no, look it up.
Oh my god. All right, so we know that Lilith did something. That's another 5 minutes out of the show. That will never
pull
even
the show.
know.
Well,
Jamie.
while we're waiting for him to figure that out, I think that like the whole like what you were talking about, the ideas of liberty and like the Adam and Eve story could kind of and you tell me if I'm wrong, but like we were kind of talking about how femininity is more emotional and chaotic, and masculinity tends to be more on like the rational.
Well, strategic. Like, tasks.
Yeah.
Strategic.
Yeah, so I guess concepts like liberty in the time that they were more progressive concepts. Like now it's part of everyday life, but it was kind of a step against everything that was
The divine
going
right
on
of
at the
kings.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I mean,
right.
that was the whole. We talked about the painting, like depicting liberty leading the charge in the French Revolution. That famous painting.
Right.
She was like the whole idea of the French Revolution was to literally go against Christendom. Like it was to attack the core concepts of Christendom at the time, which was things like the divine right of kings. Like during the French Revolution, I actually watched a video of it, like during the week before the episode. But they literally like replaced the Catholic Church with like this thing called the Church of Reason.
I can't find
Really?
it.
Yeah, they actually
didn't know
replaced.
about that.
Yeah, they in Paris they shut down the Catholic Church and literally replaced it with like a whole new ideology. And Robespierre, who was like the sort of leader of the radical end of the revolution, which was dominant for a lot of the time it was going on, like he basically sort of deified almost himself as the aspect of the supreme reasonable being, sort of.
Like the Socrates of France at the time.
I guess so. But it
That's so
was
weird.
crazy. People just dying left and right. People being prosecuted for going against the revolution. It was a really bad time. And it's actually really interesting. We'll if you guys are willing to come back on, we can actually talk about it.
Why'd you bring it up now?
No, because the French Revolution. If you look at that famous what? No,
you
it
say
definitely
didn't
did. I think.
It did happen.
No, but the
July 14th was Bastille Day. July 14th was Bastille Day.
It's not July 14th yet.
It's the 10th.
No, technically, last year there was a July 14th, so it already did happen.
No, fake news.
Anyway.
But yes, they stormed the Bastille and took all the weapons and killed a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I remember
For the
that.
French. See, I don't say
Yeah,
stupid things. I know what I'm talking about.
but that actually.
Well, that
happened.
Lilith thing wasn't very promising, especially since
But
you looked it up.
Wait, did it not?
It doesn't say how she left the garden or what she did. It's just that she led Adam to temptation, like, and Eve. The only points it makes is that Lilith was made from the same clay as Adam, rather than being born from the rib, and that's how Eve was. And that she was Adam's first wife, and she screwed something up. I can't just do all that research in 5 minutes.
There
like
was
normal.
divorce in the beginning.
Maybe you should have did
They
it.
lost custody. Adam lost custody of the tigers.
But
Lilith got the
you're
lions
excommunicated
and the
from church
tigers.
if you get
And the
a
bears.
divorce.
Oh,
No,
so I
I
guess
don't
that's
got
how it
bears.
makes sense.
Anyway,
Hypocritical. What else is new?
Lilith aside or whatever. So we're gonna continue on. We're gonna narrow the scope of the conversation. We talked a lot about the logos, how
The
basically.
macros.
Yeah, we talked about how the logos is a conversation between feminine and masculine sort of divine ideals, and that that logos comes together to create civilization. What?
Nothing. You mumble.
I do.
Yeah, you gotta be energetic and loud.
All right, fair
I'm
enough.
feeling it.
Are you looking for how Lilith left the garden, like the process of it, or are you looking
Yes.
No.
Yes, yeah,
No.
yeah.
I don't care. Nobody cares.
But it's another scope of femininity we're not tackling.
Because
Oh.
the reason she left was because Adam wanted her to lie beneath him during sex, and she disagreed because they were she viewed them as equal, like men and women as equal.
Oh wow.
And
So it's like-
because Adam said no, Adam like refused to let her do that. Lilith left the garden, and then God sent 3 angels to go find her, and then she kind of became a succubus.
See, isn't that interesting
Wow.
lore?
Okay.
that's-
See, she wanted.
ridiculous.
She
That's-
knew she was oppressed before God even told her.
Exactly.
I don't know how
But
to-
that's like modern day femininity.
So that
right?
goes to
Like,
show. That
that's,
goes
you
to
know,
show
like,
that
they're fighting for equality kind of
She
thing.
didn't want to-
And that
you know,
existed
like in a much more.
before original sin. The difference between the two is existed before original sin. Isn't that interesting?
Mike, it's
Isn't that a whole new
nother
scope?
episode. It's a whole nother episode.
A whole nother episode. See, I just created a whole new episode topic because it was stupid.
All right.
There's some animosity in the
I
room.
didn't even say it was stupid. I said
Yes, you
it's not.
did.
It's not on
Reverse
topic.
2 minutes. You said it was stupid.
And there
Nobody
wasn't.
cares. It's the one guy in the room who doesn't care.
Oh, I do. I don't. I will care when we actually get to it in another episode.
I see.
All right.
Moving on.
The institution of marriage. What do you think? What do you think about that? marriage.
Wait, is this a macro
sham.
micro topic?
It's
Yeah.
a sham, just like funerals.
like-
All
I
right,
feel like you have stronger opinions on that.
On marriage?
Mike, what do you think about marriage?
Oh, I'm terrified of marriage.
Wait, why?
I'm completely terrified of marriage. Marriage, I don't know. I don't know. I think about it too much, but like not in a masculine or feminine way. It's more like that's where my anxiety lies.
Well, can I talk to you about what I kind of think about it?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think the idea of marriage is kind of interesting, right? Because what you're essentially doing is the way that it's okay. So, but back during if you ever seen the movie The Patriot, right?
Mhm.
Like one of the main characters, he says to a woman's father that I'd like to write to her, like to essentially like propose, kind of, or to present myself as like a potential.
You
suitor.
can't text somebody and be like, "Go marry me."
No. That's not the point. It's a figure of speech. Like he was saying that he essentially wants to bring himself up as a suitor, and the fact that you had to sort of talk to the sort of the male figure in her life was kind of basically what you have to do is you have to first humble yourself before the sort of divine feminine figure in your life.
I
And
don't know,
then
something stupid.
what?
I was gonna say to humble yourself and deal with it, which is like,
No, well, no. It's kind of it's a fair.
can you
point.
imagine? Like, it gotta be like, you gotta understand. You're gonna be seeing this person every day when you wake up and every day when you go to bed until you die.
Well, that's,
You gotta
that's what it ideally
You
is.
basically gotta humble yourself to being able to do that, because you're gonna be like, I don't want to do this commitment, and then
There's a reason why in our modern culture and or most cultures the man has to propose to the woman.
Yeah.
Like you're essentially what you're doing, and then that's the reason why you get on one knee. You know, et cetera, et cetera. It's almost like praying, kind of. Like you have to humble yourself before.
you're making an offering, being in the ring.
Exactly.
You're making a sacrifice. You sacrifice your hard-earned money to buy this stupid ring she'll wear one day, and then
And then
Well, I don't think
I
that's
think you wear it
initially how
every
it was,
day.
but
no, you get a wedding band. Because like, can you imagine wearing a diamond ring like all the time?
And just get
Yeah.
shanked in the street.
Like, you gotta tell you, I cut off people's fingers for a living.
Mike, okay, you gotta let him speak now. You gotta I'm about to make him cut your mic in a second.
No, I actually think it's kind of bullshit that you have to ask the father and that the father walks the bride down the aisle. I don't like that.
I don't like that.
well, yeah. I mean,
And
I think
I
that's,
would never do that.
Yeah.
Alright.
But that's personally, I think that's more like an up and coming viewpoint, and I think that's because females are more seen as individuals in society now. When
Well,
in-
at least in Western.
And especially
yeah,
in marriage.
in
You know,
the
like-
United States, if we're talking like our context, which is really all we can speak on.
People
yeah.
focus on like let's say India or somewhere else with arranged marriages being like oppressing the women, but they don't realize like it's always been oppressing the women, because like the man has to initiate it, the father has to okay it, the father has to walk with, like, literally hold her hand basically down the aisle like she can't walk herself, like, you know.
Well, I feel
Like,
as if
why?
we're not being really charitable to where this idea kind of came from. Like, I mean, the world at one point was like thousands of times more dangerous than it was today. If we're talking about like
Flint, Michigan, they
Yeah.
got water.
exactly.
Oh, yeah. So
Well, no,
we
it's a
didn't-
financial. It used to be a funds agreement. I mean, if we're talking about the Eastern world, it's all about,
That's why you get a prenup.
that's why it's between the father and the new
husband,
husband.
yeah.
It's about money, His
well,
money's going to take care of them until they die.
Yeah.
Well, but the reason why I'm saying we're not necessarily being charitable is because like the idea of it like what I feel as if it really was more for security. Like I think the financial aspect is a layer of it, but I think the top most layer of it, or maybe even the bottom, was to secure essentially the longevity of
Your love.
well, not
By
necessarily-
forcing it,
well,
kind of.
well,
Not forcing it, but like.
no.
I encourage any married viewers to comment why exactly you got married, because I can at least see why I'd get married, but I think some people don't know.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is that it's securing what you have. But this is actually not really what I want to talk about in terms of marriage. I want to talk about like what is it that like how does it relate necessarily to femininity and masculinity? Like I mean, isn't this like the kind of synthesis that we've been talking about with the Hegelian dialect? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where they come together like it's an actual like sort of ritual. Like these are the like for since mankind has really
Well, now
the converse, you know.
Now I think that marriage has turned into something much more financial than it did ever because
Yeah.
of like with all the reasonings being like being able to go into a hospital and sitting with your wife after visiting hours, or like taxes, tax purposes, and all of that financial stuff. But I think ultimately, like, people don't marry for finances, obviously. Well, yeah.
There's
yeah,
a myriad,
I guess that was
there's
a
a
dumb
myriad
question.
of reasons why.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean, if
right.
you marry somebody, like, think about, like, if we're gonna go off the whole masculinity, femininity thing, the female, assuming that females have, like, the majority of the feminine traits, and the male having mostly masculine traits,
Yes.
should come together and be a better, like, contribute to each other in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that because of all the crap that it's become in modern society, it's either for finances, or it's about other things. It's about the party, it's about religion, but not really about.
But you're saying people don't really understand why, like.
I don't think they
this
take the
exists.
time to step outside of themselves and think about it as much as maybe they should.
I think
Does
they
that
get
mean we
caught up
should-
in the superficial bull, and they like wind up thinking too much about the surface stuff instead of just loving each other for who they are. But I think that a reasoning as to why like marriages aren't as successful as they once were is because of the fact that masculinity and that femininity is more gray now, like in all of us.
Yeah.
Like, you know, back
So-
in the day, we used to play all our roles as, you know, men were masculine, and
Yeah, it's
you know,
changing.
and now it's like they kind of, you try to find someone that fits your other half, but it's a little more difficult because of how gray the area is.
The synthesis is not. It's becoming a little bit more meaningless, maybe.
Yeah, right. And then there's also, you know, everything else on
Communication,
top of it, you know, like the finances and stuff and all the surface bullshit that clouds everyone's judgment.
God, it's so much better we can curse now.
My dad's saying the real statements.
Marriage is like a sham sometimes.
Well,
Yeah,
it
which mic?
is
Me mic?
one of the oldest institutions known to man.
The only thing a bigger sham than marriage is funerals. Because they make it so much money to just bury someone in the ground. You can do it for free. Just put them in the box, bury.
Yeah,
Instead,
but-
you gotta buy like a $3,000 coffin. You gotta do all this stuff.
Well,
Mike,
yeah,
would
now
you
there's a
rather be
big money aspect in it.
Yeah.
But there's
Mortician
also, like,
science and dudes.
you have to bury them below the frost layer or it'll smell.
Yeah,
And
that's deep.
the embalming is another thing that you have to do. And I'm sure that, like,
And
you don't want to do that to
married.
your mom.
You get married so that you can afford the funeral of your spouse when they die. Well, that's not why you get married. But,
yeah, 60 years of marriage just to bury someone in a
dude,
box.
I'm wired today. This is one of those rare days where I'm not yawning 3 times a minute.
That was the
Coffee.
worst episode.
It's the coffee.
From matcha.
Yeah, I had a little bit of coffee. I'm just peeing nonstop.
What is this? I mean, like I said, it's one of the oldest institutions known to man. Like, what purpose does it fill? I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Having babies.
well, it's creating an environment that's safe for babies.
To have a lot of babies.
Well, it's supposed to
back
be
in the
two
day.
people. Like, if you think about it, for reproduction, it's supposed to be this is the person you mate with,
Yeah.
and like those two people should have traits. Like, there's a reason you're attracted to them physically, and it's because
Yeah.
like
And humans are often just a jealous animal. Like, you ever see that video of that penguin that like came?
Mike.
Like, no, come on, hear me out. Hear me out.
Go ahead.
Hear me out. Some
All right,
animals are more jealous than others. So there's this video of this penguin
Yeah.
that comes back home after like doing penguin whatever, and like it finds that its mate is with another penguin, and it goes absolutely apeshit, and the two male penguins fight. And the female penguin ends up picking the penguin that was with it while the other penguin was away. And you see for like a straight minute, the penguin that basically lost its wife is screaming like in dread.
But that's pretty typical of every animal species.
Exactly.
There's
Well,
always
how
a
are we
king of the
any
hill that
different?
That's
mates
pretty
with all the
interesting.
females.
We've created a way to ensure that the female does not pick another male, which doesn't work all the time, and it's not bad. But
I really feel as if you're arguing against it in bad faith. Like it's not like
I'm not all right. Let me try to fix that. We're not literally penguins, squawk. But like, what I'm trying to say here is that humans are still animals, and we get jealous.
Yeah.
So marriage was a way to ensure, like, mutually now, not just for the woman to do it, like mutually, the man and the female
Yeah.
would not. Yeah, but see, how do I know the penguin that left in the first place wasn't already cheating on his penguin wife.
Mike, I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say
I
that-
like saw the inner conflict in his eyes. He's like, oh shit, I don't have all the details. Damn it.
That's the thing. Yeah,
Mike, I know what you're trying to say.
Well,
It's,
you
it's,
know,
it's,
yes.
it's to create a less violent society.
No,
generally.
not a less violent society. It's just to
That's what
ensure.
you mean, though.
No, I'm saying it is to ensure mutual respect between the two. It's a promise
But-
that you are mutually exclusive to each
Yes,
other.
and that
the
limits-
penguin screwed that up.
Yes, and it limits violence because it's making it so that
Yeah,
this
but-
is the
yeah,
thing that
yeah.
we,
It limits violence. I guess because
Yeah,
I did
in
say that they
conflict.
beat each other up. You would.
Well, yeah,
think
because
that
Mike, because like I remember when I told you that non-monogamous societies tend to be more violent.
penguins, yes.
Yeah, but the point is that like the in marriage kind of
What's red, white? Wait, what's black?
right, right,
What's
right.
black,
What?
white, and red and all over?
nothing, nothing. It doesn't
A
matter.
penguin who cheated on his wife.
The point is that like marriage, it kind of
That was funny. As
Yeah, like it
That was a way funnier joke than I think anyone's giving credit for.
oh my goodness.
No, but I get it. Like you're trying to, like you added more like stability to a society that was like king of the hill aspect.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
But that was like the whole point. It's going against our like evolutionary need. Like a male can procreate with as many women, but a female can only hold a child one at a time, or well, you know, depending on twins or whatever.
Oh,
but
yeah,
you
I
know,
know what
like
you're saying.
one. And so like our society was all about like, you know, the lion who beat the shit out of all the other lions would procreate with all the women, so their, you know,
It's not only that.
with
like,
their genes would move on.
it's
But
not
now,
only that. Yeah, I'm sorry. And
No,
in,
go ahead.
in those herd like societies, like you know those herd species that do that, where it's like one male dominates all the other women.
Yeah.
Like it's actually really crazy how violent it actually is, like the violent aspects. So
Yeah.
llamas, I think I forget which creature it is.
It's interesting that
Mike,
herbivores.
Mike, let me finish.
No, no, I'll let you finish. But it's interesting that it's usually herbivores that do that. Like it's more common amongst like deers and rams and such like that to fight that way.
What some creatures will do is that they'll.
Stags.
It's Mike, hold on. I know what zebras do is that they
What's
will.
black and what's
Shut
black and white
up! Jesus Christ! I know what zebras will do is that they'll use their they'll essentially force pregnant zebra females into an abortion if they're pregnant with another male's like like a baby.
Really?
What's black and
Yeah.
white and red all over?
Mike, I'm gonna
Jesus.
crack your glasses into and make you buy new ones.
Please no.
That's like a violent thing to do.
No, it is violent.
To another zebra.
No, it is very
That's really
violent.
That's like
sad.
huge.
How do they get the abortion? Do they push the zebra down the stairs?
I know. No, but I mean,
no,
if
they
you ever
just-
got
they just-
kicked in the
they-
face by a horse,
No,
I'm
they just
sure
rape
that's where
them.
the damage
No,
comes
they just rape. No, they just rape them.
So
Yeah, but
hard
that
to
doesn't guarantee
An abortion.
And they just do it until she aborts it.
That is definitely
What?
That's no,
What? That's not true.
it is true.
That's not true. Jamie,
No.
pull that up, Jamie.
No, it is true.
You want me to pull that up?
Yeah, get a video if you can.
What zebras will do is that they'll essentially force abortions in other zebra females in order to make it so that their offspring are the ones that are dominant. In case there's ones that are pregnant while they're kicking out another one.
But why?
Holy, that's insane.
For the reason why you think. It's not my child.
Hey, that no.
I don't see this anywhere.
It's not. Where'd you hear this from?
Sorry, it happens. I know. I've seen it before.
You've seen it before.
What at the zoo? Like, oh, whoa.
Madagascar made a
Lion
turn for the
King.
worse.
Madagascar 4. Why did we make this?
Like,
No. Zebra stallions will fight each other for females and will even go as far as stealing females from one another. If the female which is stolen is pregnant, the new male will rape her until such time as she is aborted from the pregnancy.
what?
That is worded very strangely, but yeah.
Abortion would be done by releasing hormones that would cause her body to reabsorb the fetus or miscarry, or if she gave birth to a live foal, it would be kicked to death by the male.
Whoa.
Why are we
It seems
do?
extreme, but it ensures that the strongest genetics survive, and killing of another male's young is not uncommon practice in the animal kingdom, and is called infanticide.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
You learn something new every day.
Well, no, but imagine, like, why don't we do that? You know, like, because we're perfectly able to. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
imagine
yeah,
a
yeah.
society where this sort of institution didn't exist. I mean, like, why wouldn't we just do that in order to ensure that? Because I mean, what they're actually doing is it's actually pretty reasonably beneficial for their gene pool, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Why
yeah,
not?
yeah.
Why don't
No,
you think so?
because think about if you. Well, I don't want to use you.
Monkeys and
If
horses do it
somebody.
too.
Well, wait, killing the. I'm thinking about something else. I'm sorry.
Well,
No,
no,
but
like rabbits can have babies. They have a litter within 6 weeks, but after 4, they can get pregnant again. And what happens is when they have a bunch of babies, but not enough food to go around, they'll eat the weaker or the running
Yeah,
litter
I was-
to help the stronger survive longer, so
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
procreate and pass their genes on.
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand that that's something that we're totally in the realm of capability. I'm fumbling over my words, but we can totally
we can
kill
be
our
that
offspring.
violent.
Yeah,
Like, we're totally in our what?
Get a comment when you're ready.
Just do it. What's wrong? I mean, what's wrong? What's the comment?
19K says, all civilizations have had marriage throughout history. Back when we didn't have the state stepping in when a man didn't provide for his family or offspring, it was vital for a woman to pick a proper mate who could provide for her and their children. Much of the time, people didn't marry for the love, but rather convenience.
So he's saying the penguin, the wife penguin, was completely justified because the male penguin was absent.
It is not life-ending for women and children when the marriage fails.
Well, yeah, no, but that's not
well, it sounds
necessarily
like
the
he's
point I'm
making
trying to
some
make.
kind of comment about child support and welfare.
Yeah, it's which we're not going to
So,
really.
yeah, we're not
into.
talking about
But no,
that.
what the point he's trying to make is that you know how the reason why it's Mother Nature is because nature selects.
There ain't no welfare in nature.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
right.
So that
That's
kind
exactly what
of
I'm
makes
saying,
it.
like-
What's the point when you can survive fighting on your own, even with offspring now?
The tree
Well-
has dropped a branch.
Oh no.
Tragic.
Yeah.
But I think is that the argument that I like.
Well,
that's-
Well, it was
Hopefully
like
he'll-
marriage and how it plays.
No,
a role.
hopefully he'll clarify. But the point he's
Yeah.
trying to make is that like women, I think what he's trying to say is women had a lot stronger role in marriage than maybe we're letting it out to be.
Yeah, right.
Which is
Okay.
why I'm saying that we're probably not being particularly charitable to what it is. Because hold on, like remember when if anybody who had seen last episode, I talked about how the idea of the state is not a uniquely, but it's a masculine. It's constructed
Yeah.
with masculinity in mind. I'd
Right.
say like it's a direct expression of the sort of masculine essence, and so when these things sort of synergize with each other, you get things where the state has such a heavy role in the idea of marriage, or men have such a almost sort of tyrannical or domineering role in marriage.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Especially back when divorce was like looked down upon. It's like I'm pretty sure that was always not well looked upon when it was a female who got divorced.
exactly.
Which is
Well,
weird
if-
because nowadays it's kind of a little different, wherein like they tend to get a little bit like more, unless you sign prenups. But that's collapsing too now. 'Cause
Well-
people are realizing that's kind of screwed. It's a mess. That's why you gotta really think about who you marry.
Well, it is a mess, but the thing is that I don't really want to focus necessarily on.
Marriage because it's taking forever.
Well, no, not on marriage. Like, I mean, the institution as we know it. Like, what is the base substantive concept behind it? Like, we kind of talked about, it was kind of jumbled, but we talked about how like society can be way more violent than it is, and maybe marriage has something to do with curbing that violence.
Right.
Right.
And
But I don't necessarily. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't necessarily think that marriage was the institution that was put in place to keep, men from being violent with each other, to have as many women as they wanted. I think like security came in with that. As we evolved, well, we probably developed a conscience, not a conscious, as well as like knights or, some sort of
The ability to
like
love.
well we had like it was like I don't want to say this but men were probably like, this is my property, and property being women. I know how that sounds, but
Yeah.
like don't touch her,
yeah.
and if you do, like respect my marriage, but if you do, I'm gonna hurt you. And so that's probably where the whole, I don't necessarily think that marriage was like the thing that provided stability in society in terms of violence. I think it was like them working towards, I don't know. I think I'm.
Well, I mean, I just
bouncing off that with the elaboration.
did he elaborate his comment? Okay, let's hear it.
So all I'm saying is that in the past we look at marriage like it was such a strong institution that you didn't see divorce. But what it really was is that women didn't have as many options as they do now. If a woman lost her husband to a disease or an accident, they might be forever in prison, in poverty, or in bad circumstances.
Today or back
Wait,
then?
what? Why would what?
Well, like with
Did I-
widows
did I-
in India,
I think that's what
imprisonment.
they're referring to is like back then.
Yeah.
Yes, that like when when a woman's husband died, that they would forever be impoverished or they would live in bad circumstances. Where today, that's not the case.
Okay, that's actually not the case even kind of back then. Well, it depends on where
Well,
you're talking
widows
about.
in India, they would put them in these camps where they lived in poverty and they were basically imprisoned.
Okay, so that's horrible, but I know
Yeah.
no, and hold on, no, in ancient, well, it
Man,
is
we were-
ancient.
That's not an
Population
ancient
problem.
practice.
No. What I'm talking about in ancient Sparta, what would happen when a woman's husband would die in war, because they went to war often,
Yeah.
is that she would just basically inherit all of his land, and then she would just get married again, essentially. Like she would just be That's why they had such a high economic role to play in ancient Sparta, because what they would do is, of course, they would keep the home, but what that really meant was that they were also holding up the agrarian economy of ancient Sparta. Like they would maintain the slaves that he owned before he died,
Yeah.
and the land and etc.
Right.
And what would happen is that when these husbands would die, because they would marry multiple times sometimes, that you had these wealthy land magnates, I think that's what the word is, that were mostly comprised of women. Or mostly,
wow.
but the women they became landowners.
Was it
essentially.
arranged marriage back then, or was it you picked?
I'm pretty sure it was arranged by the council.
I was about to say, because if you could pick, couldn't you just pick like really obviously weak-looking men and be like, "Yeah, I'll take you," and then just keep dating weak men until they all die and keep getting more and more stuff?
Well, how are they getting land if they're
Well, they also
weak?
said that, I mean, you can
Oh,
look back
good
at
point.
the Old West women who didn't have the rights to own property.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No,
There's no
right.
such thing as owning property.
Oh,
But
Jesus.
like, it
That's another
doesn't
episode.
make. It makes sense
Sorry.
that they didn't have the right to own property because they weren't making money to own property.
Yeah.
That is true.
Well, yeah, but
They
then
were-
that's also saying
But
that
it's
like
just the
That-
way
I don't
that
know
the
if that
gender
was-
roles ended up. Like, we broke out of that obviously for very good reasons, but
Yeah.
history is just like the way that it was playing out at that point, and that's
Yeah.
because our gender roles are completely changing right now. So yeah, it makes sense why that was the way it was. Women weren't going out and working; they were living in the house and taking care of children.
Yeah.
God, that sounds so good now. Honestly, just not going to work. I would love to not go to work.
Am
I
I
hate
wrong?
working.
no, you're right. You're right. I was actually just thinking about how like it's pretty understandable how we went from like a society where men dictated what. Well, no, that's not understandable. But like how we evolved to this point, how we moved from like now women have more say, or they can go out and get jobs and stuff like that. Is because I mean they had kids and then the kids. It's just pure evolution.
What if
under
men
had
societal
kids?
evolution? I'm just
We'd just be
stating that.
It just wouldn't happen.
What if who? What?
What if men could have kids? How would they,
They
be
technically
treated?
can.
Oh,
I wish
well,
that guys
actually-
could have kids and
They
stuff.
technically-
I want to get that. I want to get that thing that you strap on that makes you experience like the pain of labor. I really want to try that. We should try
I'm,
that
like,
and then we should
curious.
put it on the show.
I'm a little curious
as a
about
clip.
it, too.
But anyway,
If anyone's
Well,
got any leads
Joe
to that.
Rogan stated that in one of his stand-ups about how if men could have babies, then abortion would be an app on your phone.
But that's a good point though. Like I think a lot of how
horrible.
women have been treated,
Yeah.
in a way, it might be like really strict protection because they could bear children and we can't. So like you kind of, I guess people back then that had like the kind of thought like we have to keep them safe from
Yeah.
other things or else we won't be able to have kids. And that's what marriage kind of probably comes from too, to ensure that you could have a kid.
yeah. I think I'm just gonna sort of end this conversation about marriage here.
All right, we're going down.
No. The point.
I was gonna segue into another Joe Rogan joke, but okay.
But I think that marriage is just one of those things that emerged from the conversation that we talked about.
Yeah.
Last
the
episode, so
alien-
watch it rather.
No, yeah, exactly.
I mean, we could transcribe it so you could read it for those who are deaf. That'd be nice. Although we could also have subtitles.
Mike, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Let's continue.
Anyway, but yeah, I think
Let's
that
make Steve do more work.
I think it was just one of the many institutions and ideas that came out from the conversation between men and women. I think that in some ways maybe people aren't too charitable when they talk about marriage. As
well, that's because
throughout
it's
history.
like that's because it's funny to bash marriage.
Yeah, but
Like-
my point is that like I think that it really was always like in the times of societies when they were more orderly than chaotic or corrupt. I think there was more just a conversation that men and women had together to talk about their roles in society in a way that just made it safer. Like I just simply don't agree with the premise that it wasn't necessarily about making society less violent, because I feel as if when society was it wasn't maybe necessarily a conscious decision to make it less violent, but I think that that's just what happened as we began to expend our energy in more thoughtful ways. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but yeah,
I want to post a clip of that penguin fight in the comments.
was it actually a good fight?
Oh my god, it was brutal. Brutal. They were smacking the hell out of each other, pecking at the eyes. Both penguins were black and white and red. Red, black and white. They were disgusting.
They were hurt. They were hurt each other.
They were gravely injured, and one of them was emotionally distraught. I'm sure he got over it in like 2 hours, but still,
Nah.
they are penguins. So like, yeah, all right. I'll find a
Honestly, he
different
probably killed himself.
one. How does a penguin kill himself? Drown? You can't
Jump off a
drown.
cliff.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Like, what do you mean they can't drown?
Penguins do not intentionally drown themselves to kill themselves. That's
Yes,
not something
dolphins
that
do
occurs.
it. Dolphins do it.
Because dolphins are really smart, though. They're way smarter than a penguin. They're almost our level. They understand depression. I guess they could kill themselves. Like, I remember there was that one dolphin who had a human lover, folks, and it killed itself because they took her away.
Jesus.
Horrible.
That's not funny.
Is that like another
That's-
My Strange Addiction episode?
Love is not an addiction.
I'm addicted to making penguins kill themselves. No, yeah, penguins kill themselves.
I'm addicted to
Dolphins.
screwing dolphins.
Yuck. But
I'm
yeah.
sure there's
That was not something I
some
would've said.
genre of
That could be clipped.
animal.
Bestiality.
Who clips
Yeah.
this show anyway? Anyway,
Me, for one.
Mike, your idea of a clip is 4 seconds of
Because it's
something happening.
funny.
It's not a clip. A clip is like a minute.
I say something funny, Austin laughs, clips over.
Very
No,
philosophical.
it's a
and
vine.
insightful.
It's a vine. That's essentially what he's doing.
Even the vines weren't that short. But anyway.
the best Vine
I think it was 6 seconds. Vines were 6
Vines?
Tales from the bottom
I
of the
don't know.
vineyard.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you guys a personal question.
Oh,
All right.
What's your social security
All of
number?
it?
I can tell you right now.
Speaking on your own dynamic as a couple, right?
Oh,
How do you think-
Shit, we were blindsided with this question.
How do you think these ideas of divine masculine and femininity communicating with each other? Like, how do you think that plays
What are you
out?
going to propose?
Oh, I think
How do you think
with
that plays
us.
out in your
It's kind of like two seals fighting over a grape.
No, no,
I saw that movie. It wasn't. I know that exactly that line.
But that's exactly what happens between us. There's like that's
What do
like
you mean?
What are you talking about?
what you're saying. Our personal interaction between
No,
masculinity.
I think he's
and
talking
femininity.
about like what we were talking about the other day,
Got any
how I
grapes?
learned things from you.
Oh, how
perspectives.
we yeah.
And I think that you, like, I think that we both, like, I can learn a lot from him when it comes to, like, I guess, doing things. I don't.
Oh wow.
What kind of thing?
That's all you
I'm
got?
trying. No, I'm trying to like the way
Wait.
that things interact, like physical things interact. Like he's a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
Okay.
So like he gets that like math, he understands, which I think
okay.
is a more masculine.
Math
like if we're gonna
sucks, man.
apply like masculinity and femininity.
Actually, I think recently women have done better than. Like, I think women do better than men generally in math. I think,
Really?
but it's engineering that they don't do well in.
Yeah.
Engineering, like
Well, it's
physics.
like-
There's a difference between like
Well,
knowing math and using math.
Because I think what it is that it's not necessarily the
Yeah.
math that's it's not necessarily the math that makes it, I guess, hard for women to no like yeah it's not Jesus Christ.
I was like yawning and then I got a little bit of a laugh.
It's not the math, it's applying the concepts, I think.
Yeah, but applied math and applied science is like
Is yeah right
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess
Applied
notoriously.
philosophy.
What is that even?
but
Yeah,
This podcast.
And I think like what I would assume that I contribute is like
Yeah, so I, being really good at math and science, I found out that I'm absolutely terrible at reading and writing. So I don't value words too much. So when I talk, I might sound like an idiot, but I try to illustrate my point with.
What if you like
you know,
read a book
examples
in
and-
binary code?
Mike.
Well, see, I think that would
Go
be.
on.
I mean, I think if I knew binary code, like I knew letters and words and stuff, I think it would be a lot easier for me. Yes, but the.
Come on.
But she has showed me that because she is like looking to be a lawyer, or yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
It's like
I don't know.
in sites.
That's another episode.
Yeah, I've learned like specific words have specific meanings, so I can protect myself a little more in not sounding like an idiot, and not insulting people while also getting my message across.
She basically just let you know how
You kind of
autistic
need
you are.
both. Like,
Well, yeah, pretty much. So.
you kind of need both in a way to like. You could be really smart and not be able to articulate like what exactly you're trying to solve with your intelligence. It's better off that you know how to do that.
Right.
So
basically.
she allowed you to tap into your more
Right.
emotional side. I guess.
Indeed.
But I think you see, like, I feel like we see a lot of that balance.
Yeah.
Like, I think
It's
I could
harder to
see it
communicate.
balancing
Yeah.
out.
Well, it's like literally like last week I was writing an email and I wanted to make sure that I was specifically saying one thing, and I literally thought about her writing it and how like her vocabulary is a lot more complex than mine, but
Yeah.
like I used my vocabulary with her like mindset. And
What's the most complicated word you know?
I don't know. It's not-
Iridociclitis.
What the hell is that?
You've never seen that Vine?
Iridociclitis.
He's like, iridociclitis.
What is that?
Oh,
Sounds like an
everybody
alien
would know
rock.
what that is. It's like this kid at a spelling bee, I think, and they're like, his next word is like that word, and he has to spell it.
Well, do you know what it means?
I have no idea.
Oh, so you don't know the word.
So,
You
yeah,
know of the word.
That was underwhelming.
It meant so.
Look that up, Jamie. Stevie.
I don't think it's like an important.
But anyway, yeah.
I can't look up what I can't spell.
It was just a question because the most complex word I know.
It's punish. No.
Anyway. But
But yeah, so like there
Yeah.
is that
I'm
like,
looking it up right now.
rubbing off on each other that happens, and I value it.
what?
Yeah, you went somewhere with that. All right.
I'm sorry, just in my head.
Or she did, whatever.
I wasn't
But-
even thinking.
No, I looked at him to try to stop laughing.
Look at me to stop laughing.
No, I looked at him to like, so he would.
I'm getting this on Urban Dictionary. It's not a good sign.
But yeah, so
Iridociclitis is inflammation of the iris.
Oh, that
Oh, wow.
I should have understood that.
Oh, itis.
It's
Yeah, itis.
And of
I got the itis.
ciliary body, muscle tissues, and involving the focusing eye. The condition is also called anterior uveitis.
All right, whatever. No one cares. It's a medical term.
Yeah.
I
Anyway.
actually cared.
Oh, sorry.
Your search went unnoticed. Noticed. See,
makes
this is
your
what I'm
eyes
saying. This is what I'm
explode.
saying. I'm like I'm stupid when it comes to words. Like I don't know how to use
He's
them.
not. He's not stupid.
But the point is that you're saying is that there's things that you can't do
Yeah.
easily, and there's things that she can do easily, and there's things that he can do easily that you can't do.
Well, I think masculinity
Really?
and femininity work well together when you allow someone else to like teach you something. And I
Well-
think people want to pretend they know how to do everything or they don't need help with anything.
So it's overcoming.
Or like
ego.
everybody else's way is a dumb way of doing something.
That's how I put power
Yeah.
steering fluid into the oil chamber.
But I think that's where like
Go on.
having an open mind and like knowing our differences as well as similarities let us progress forward. Like it's not that women have to stay home with the kids and cook and clean. It's like understanding that you're a team and you work together is how you move forward.
I'm starting to think
Yeah.
children
And
is the issue.
I don't think that we have,
That's another.
I
Episode.
don't think that we do it wrong. I think we listen to each
Yeah,
other.
I don't think there's a right way of doing any of this.
Yeah.
That's weird. It's
think you
usually
just roll
for
with
me,
the
it's my way
punches.
or the highway. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That, I was about to say
kidding.
that does
I'm
not
kidding.
sound like
I'm kidding.
anything
Yeah.
reflective in reality at all.
It's not.
no.
It's definitely not.
All right, the conversation is over. Moving
No,
on.
it's definitely not. Listen, you're lucky I didn't get your girlfriend on here.
That would just be a 40-minute roast session.
The roasting of Michael Kemp.
Yeah, we're doing that next. We're doing that in 2 years.
Oh,
My roast is coming up, boys.
after you like go on a cocaine binge.
No, we got an order going amongst another friend group. We got one guy going this year, another guy going next year. We got a vote on the third person, but it's definitely going to be me. So in 2022,
22.
You're gonna get roasted.
I'm gonna get roasted.
All right, I'll be there. Anyway, but
Can I pre-order tickets now?
Huh?
Can I
It's
pre-order
free.
tickets now?
You can pre-order a free show, I guess.
On patreon.com/Aries22.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, we could make
What
a
he
big
said.
production and charge,
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
can actually get some money.
Well, you can hide that behind the paywall that nobody's even going to.
I'll go to it one day.
Maybe.
It's just $1's a lot of money.
Is it?
Yeah, you know what you get with $1? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
You could get a kick in the teeth.
You can get an Arizona iced tea.
You could fill up half
One
your
Arizona
tires.
doesn't count because they purposely put the money, like the amount, on the can just to screw you over.
But then, I hate that though. They'll do that in some places. Will be like, it's $1.75. No, it's $1. It says it right on the can.
Well, because in the bottle it's like more.
The reason
When you get it in the can, it's 99 cents.
I'm pretty sure the reason why it's 99 cents is because you can't refund the container in this state. So it's like $1. It's okay to be $1.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway. But I mean, it's very interesting because
No,
like
it's not.
it kind of is. But the synthesis of two
Man and woman.
yes, two seemingly opposing forces. Because I mean, would you agree that there are things that about masculinity and femininity that don't necessarily cancel each other out, but directly like conflict with each other
Hey, bring that back. I need that.
in an almost hostile way?
I think don't immediately slap me in the face, but I think the idea of Lilith is actually a pretty good example of when there's too much of one. All right, because there's too much. Oh no, but she was fighting oppression. Never mind. Forget Lilith. Live the
Well,
rule
no,
of fight.
you
God
could-
sent 3 angels to kill 100 of her children until she decided to come back.
How do you have 100 kids?
Oh my God! Woo, another episode.
I have a whole article. I've been reading the entire show.
It's interesting. See, it's interesting.
It's-
The Bible is much more interesting than people lead.
Mike,
lead
when
on.
we did a whole season of the Bible and you didn't care.
I think it was boring.
That's-
It was
But you talk
so
about one sucky, but as
boring.
soon as it's like,
'Cause, like,
Lilith.
I can
Let me talk about this in the episode it's not about.
But they fought a dragon in Revelations. I can talk about that. That's cool. They don't teach you that in high school or Catholic school. They don't tell you about when everyone fought a dragon because it's there's no lesson to be learned from fighting a giant dragon. Okay.
Okay,
Who
there,
fought a
first of all, there
The
is a lesson.
archangels. They fought a dragon.
First of all, there is a lesson. Second of all, this is not the episode. We talk about fighting dragons or Lilith.
But you can say the dragon is like masculinity.
Mike, no, it's not. It's the dragon represents pure chaos, so it might actually be a little bit more feminine.
Yeah.
Don't look at me.
Well, like like what she was saying about how females are more emotional and
It's unbridled rage. Like if you look at
Yeah,
dragons in like D&D's canon, like they usually like the evil ones. They usually represent like unfettered emotion, like uncontrollable emotion.
But the devil mostly manipulated through the Bible. Now is manipulation a feminine or a masculine trait?
Manipulation.
Yeah. What'd you say?
That's kind of masculine.
How?
Because
we've already been over
achieve
that.
a goal.
All right, but we've already been over that men generally approach aggression physically, which the devil had not done until he was a dragon. So wouldn't the dragon be masculine and his manipulation be feminine?
It's something you can argue.
See, then why is everything I say stupid when we could just talk about like it's like philosophy. You can make anything philosophical. You can make anything about men versus
But we also
women.
have to make episodes that have topics that are consistent. With
But you
each
just
other.
said you wanted to drift away from topics.
What? No, I have like
Yes, you
40
did.
more right here.
I think this is an example
Of
of two
that are relevant to the
masculine people
conversation.
conflicting.
You know, I can hear you.
Well, I think everyone can.
Yeah,
That's why I said
that's
it.
a good point.
I don't even know what I know what she said. All right.
Well, if you watch the episode,
Oh,
sometimes
I
you
didn't
know.
realize that everything I said could be heard.
Yeah.
What do you think these are for?
Before it was like vegans.
50% of our fan base is vegan. What
I don't
have you
think they
done?
heard you because you
No,
said it like under
some
your
of them are
breath,
vegan.
And
No,
I was
I
right
said-
here.
No, we have compressors. It makes it louder.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So
It's amplified.
we heard you say
Cool.
all that stuff about vegans like really
Sorry.
loud.
I didn't say anything about vegans. I just said
All right.
Oh, what'd you
so,
say?
So the
I was
last,
just like,
so the last topic of this, in a very spiteful way. Jeez. All right. So the last part of the prompt. All right. Do you think that there are natural roles for men and women in society? Like, is there things that just come naturally to men and naturally to women?
Women are really good
I-
at finding things I can't find.
No, I don't think that there was some predetermined role that.
Well,
Well,
not necessarily-
besides for the role that we play in reproduction, but I don't think.
Wait, so
that
there
there's-
is a kind of role.
Well, yeah, but now there's more complexity to life.
I think since we're no longer concerned with survival,
Yeah.
now we're individuals that have separate reproductive functions, but I don't think that should affect our societal roles anymore.
Do you
But
think
it
that?
does.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry. Did you?
No, it does with
Okay.
the whole like women
That's something.
Jesus.
like.
Why didn't you
A
get
man
it?
invented that telephone.
Maybe it was another comment. They were calling in.
Yeah, they're calling in.
Oh yeah.
I think
Because I
Mike is a
insulted the
sexist
vegans.
pig.
The show is awful. Come on.
I meant me, Mike, not him, Mike. This sucks. There's so many Mikes. Why couldn't I been named like something different? Like George. I think I look like a George or a Thomas.
If you're
Oh, I
George,
could see Thomas. I could see Thomas.
if you're George, then call me Lenny. Wait. No. Anyway, never mind. Go on. What were you saying?
No, I just think that those survival instinctual reasons for like we talked about marriage and we talked about like the way that men and like the relationship ends up turning out, and I think the whole female mentality of settling down and being like a housewife
Yeah.
is based off of that instinctual like survival technique of staying in the house because you're safer, like we were talking about,
Safety.
Yeah.
if you're the one bearing children, you should be safer
Like
in the house. But now we're not really concerned about that. You're just as safe as a pregnant female walking outside as you are. I mean, I guess not really. Like you could get injured way easier, but like
Obviously.
on a day-to-day basis, like the probability of something tragic occurring is just as likely if you're pregnant as if you're not pregnant.
Yeah. Like I mean, but the point that you're trying to make is that there are sort of roles that are expressed somewhat in the way we behave.
Yeah, I think it's still there. I just don't think it's necessary, and I think people don't see it for what it is. I think it's just the way it is.
If I've learned, because I mean, like years ago,
If I've learned anything about being a pregnant woman,
no, like the one thing, if I've have learned anything from like being somewhat exposed to sort of more
New
right leaning information, like just to learn about it, obviously. Then I've learned that one thing that there is to be concerned about is something that I feel as if they kind of see that we maybe don't, is that there is a such thing as the sort of is of the health of a society, and while liberty is important, like if we don't maintain the health of a society, they posit anyway that we might end up throwing away everything that we've gained. And like I think that what they often try to say is that the health of a society is expressed in how seriously we take our gender roles, and that they exist and they exist for a reason. That's what they say anyway. But I think that there is a sort of natural role that we can play. That
I lost my water bottle.
there's a sort of natural role that we can play that maybe we sort of monkey around with, maybe at our own peril. Like I feel as if it's just kind of somewhat dangerous. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's dangerous, so we shouldn't do it. But it's what?
Where the hell did it go?
I don't know.
Behind you.
See, I told you that girls always find things better than men.
Oh, you planned that.
No, I didn't.
All right, so we got a minute.
No, yeah. I
we
mean, I
don't have a minute.
I think that
I would have
We
died
don't
of
have a
thirst if
Mike,
women
we
didn't
don't have a
exist.
minute. Go on.
No, well, I think I don't even
No
remember.
pressure.
Whatever.
We did it, boys and girls.
Stab me in the
We
eyes.
saved. We've destroyed sexism. We did it. Crushed.
But
I agree
think
with
that-
you though. Females can't just decide that we're not going to procreate anymore as a whole. Like
Yeah.
that would destroy society. But I think that like that's a more extremist way of viewing it, because I don't
Viewing
think that would ever
liberty.
happen. There's still going to be people that stay home and have children. There's going to be people who don't have children. We're overpopulated as it is, so who really cares?
Can I say one thing before we end? Quickly, okay. I posited this sort of idea, right? Let me tell you about it before we go. I had this idea that it was men's duty to forge. I'm reading it straight from the prompt. To forge and battle for the existence of civilization, and women's duty to redeem these men for their suffering, and as a result of their redemptive action, canonize its very existence. What do you think about that? Mike.
I think that's a really like nice way of.
But yeah, I think that's a really nice way of
Looking
putting
at it.
like our roles that we played back then,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
Do you think that we still do that now?
well, I don't think that we're so caught up in thinking about forging in battle, but I think from like or whatever, forging in battle.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
like stupid when it
But
comes.
I think if you
about-
made it metaphorical, it could still work today.
But I mean, that's kind of the same thing. Like, 100 years ago, men went out and worked while
Yeah.
women stayed home, and that was like it's like under the same concept. Men went into battle and women stayed home, and then men went to work and women stayed home, and now that aspect of survival's gone. So now we're all free to do whatever we want.
But I mean, if we go off the masculine and feminine thing, if men are more tactical and they're forging or whatever for battle or something, and
Yeah.
women redeem them,
Not the best
that would
choice of
just
words, I
be
guess.
because women understand emotion better. So it kind of makes sense if we go based off of the traits that we attributed with masculine and
It's something to
feminine.
fight for, to see them again, basically.
We're out of time. All right. So, this was the end of women, men, and civilization. It's the end of the civilization as we know it. It's the end of the world. All right. That's why I built the submarine, so we can avoid the Holocaust. I mean,
Please
it's-
watch the penguin video I'm about to post in the comments. Great video. Great
Watch,
video.
watch Mike's Penguin video. Go to patreon.com/area22. Consider donating to see more of whatever this was.
See more butts.
I'm going live on Twitch at salty_c_gaming at 9. So
Home wrecking penguins.
so definitely watch out for that. I'm gonna be playing. I'm probably gonna be playing Postscriptum
Play
if
the
you know what
noise.
that is. Thank you so much. Thank you for guys for being on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Again.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Hopefully, you can be on again, Bella, to mate.
Oh, I'm Bella.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, we
Mike,
didn't do that.
Or Michael. I mean, I'm sure you got that, but yeah, I'm Michael. So,
Hopefully, we'll have you. If you want to come on, also it's fine. But
Yeah.
if you can be on again to maybe redeem existentialism
Yeah, I
in
think
the 21st century. All right.
that's
Oh
a
yeah,
go.
because we ruined that episode. We did very bad. Oh, whoops. Give me my phone. I got
We're going down.